Good evening, welcome to Central News for Wednesday the 30th of October. I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, new GNS research has found parts of the coastline may be more exposed to tsunami risk than previously thought. The 220-page report summarises the historical and geological record of tsunami in New Zealand. It notes that New Zealand has experienced about 10 tsunami of 5 metres or more since 1840. Tsunami specialist Dr. William Power says looking at the history of tsunami in New Zealand, it is likely that New Zealanders would experience one in their lifetime.
Well, we looked at the historical record and taking into account those more major events, the ones that are really the most dangerous ones, we came to the conclusion that, roughly speaking, in an average lifetime, the average interval between local tsunamis, those caused around New Zealand, was around about 40 or 50 years. So most people in their lifetime there would be a locally caused tsunami that affects New Zealand. And similarly, looking at the more distant ones, again the average interval between them is also around about that 50-year mark. So the chances are in an average lifetime there'll also be a distant tsunami that affects New Zealand.
Both passenger ships and cargo ships visiting the Port of Tauranga are growing in size, says Port of Tauranga CEO Mark Hens. Speaking on the port's $50 million dredging program expected to start next year at the general meeting recently, Mark says two of the largest cruise ships to call at the port made several visits in last financial year. The dredging program will make Tauranga the first New Zealand port able to host container ships with a capacity of 5,000 to 66,000 TEUs, that's 20-foot equivalent units, at low tides. The dredging will also allow larger bulk cargo ships to visit Tauranga. There are already bulk cargo customers talking about utilising larger ships. The container terminal now hosts 16 separate international services, more than any other port in the country. Now for our region's weather, Hamilton, you will start off with showers and then they will turn into rain with a strong northwesterly. Your expected high is 20 and an overnight low of 12. Tauranga, you will have showers turning to rain too. Your expected high is 20 and an overnight low of 12. Just ahead, the natural health world. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. With the rise of interest into alternative medicines, Harriet went along to the Natural Health Expo recently to find out what some of these alternative treatments are.
What is positive psychology?
Yes, well, positive psychology in academic terms at the university when I used to teach there was basically they were interested in health and well-being, and so they started researching in things like optimism, self-esteem, positive feelings. What they called hardiness was this character that some people seem to develop that gives them an immunity against hardships and even illnesses. They would recover quickly, so they called that hardiness. That's part of what positive psychology is about, but I would take it broader. For me, positive psychology is about feeling your own power and being able to make your own choices. So it's like becoming free of the reactions to other people, free of the feeling of the stress, the negative stress. Because it's not about getting rid of stress completely, it's about getting rid of stress that debilitates, brings about self-doubt, makes you feel unworthy. So positive psychology for me is about going beyond unworthiness and doubt and feeling constricted. Overcoming fear, because fear is like the antithesis of love. Fear is based on not knowing. Most of the things, if not all of the things we're afraid of, is because in somewhere or other, we don't know. We don't know what's coming. And so we try to cling on to the past or predict the future, whereas empowerment comes from being in the moment. So to do that, one of the things we have to learn to do or be at home with is being able to let go of trying to plan everything, trying to sort it out. Because when we do that, we're usually doing it on the basis of past experience. So fear, I like to turn it round, because fear is like feeling excited about reality. That's what fear is, because when I'm afraid, I get butterflies or a knot in the stomach and my heart pounds. But what happens when I'm excited? I get butterflies in the stomach and my heart pounds. So I learned early to turn it around, to change I'm feeling nervous to I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling excited about the unknown rather than I am afraid about what I don't know. And fear starts to change.
And what do you think that many people need to know when it comes to being at peace with themselves?
That they're okay. That the universe is not a scary place, it's totally benevolent. The universe is trying to find for you every day something that will show you who you really are and the capacity you have to make choices and the capacity you have to love. It's just that we have old patterns of belief that get in the way. So learning to have the thoughts without buying into them is a very good start. And that's where meditation and things like that come in. When you can go to the stillness or being able to sit there, have a half an hour a day where you sit and you do nothing and you think nothing. You just allow it all to be. I'm at home. I'm at home with myself. A sigh and just be there for half an hour. It's huge because it brings about that coherence and it starts to filter down into your life. And that is more empowering than most things. Stopping the thinking and allowing everything to be as it is.
How do you believe that we can be all that we can be?
I think that it's simply trusting yourself. That when you came in, when you look at a baby, they're beautiful and you just feel the sense of love. And when you're looking into the eyes of a baby, I believe, now I know that you're looking into the eyes of God. So if you were a baby, and you were once, and I look into your eyes, I'm seeing God. So what happened in between then and now? What happens is we have all these messages which tell us a story about us, and it tells us mostly of what we're not. So I believe that the solution is to trust ourselves and trust that life is going to bring us what we need and look forward to it. And whatever we can do in our ways of thinking, in the ways of support, in our ways of living, like deliberately choosing gratitude. Another one is to deliberately smile. To smile, not just with the face, but in the heart. You know, when you smile, there's a feeling inside. Your eyes glisten. And you get this warm, fuzzy feeling inside, you know, because you're secreting the bliss hormones from the brain. That smile is health-giving, but you can only smile when you choose you. You can't fake that smile to yourself. And you can choose that smile anytime you like. So it's about choosing gratitude. I've got a problem. This person's said this about me, it hurt me. Take my smile first. Now look at it. And when I can take my smile over that hurt, I'll see it differently. And I become empowered. And it's so, so simple that we have to remind each other often until we get it.
Coming up next, alcohol policy for Matamata Piako to be changed. Welcome back. Matamata Piako District Council has drafted up a new alcohol policy. There are a few changes to be made, and I spoke with the new Mayor Jan Barnes to find out more. Welcome to the program, Jan.
Good afternoon, Hilary.
So what is changing with the on licences for the Matamata Piako District?
For the on licences, with our new alcohol policy that we're going out to consult with, we propose that the hours are 7 a.m. to 1 a.m, but that is sort of what we've had to date. What we're proposing that is different is the one-way door policy.
And why has the council chosen not to restrict the number of on licences?
Council has been working very hard on this policy for some time. In fact, the previous council has been working on this. And our survey, April, May of this year, showed us that there isn't an issue with on licences. It's the off licence that the community is telling us has the issue.
So the bars and the restaurants and that kind of thing in Matamata Piako aren't proving to be a problem?
No. People have told us in our community that they're quite comfortable with what we have in place. Bearing in mind that, pubs and clubs and restaurants have good management, good structure, and of course management at the doors, so it doesn't appear to be a problem.
Why are you looking at a one-way door policy?
The District Health Board, our police and our licensing inspector for alcohol is telling us that this is a very good tool to use, helping to disperse people intermittently rather than all at once. So where the one-door policy, if it comes in, would be from 12 o'clock midnight to 1 a.m, people could leave, but they could not come back into any of the establishments.
And that's right across the district?
Right across the district.
Now, why have you decided to cap the off licences?
We have been told by our community, yet again, through the survey, we have too many off licences in our district. And this is where the problem is. This is where our community is telling us that things aren't right and we're experiencing issues.
Do we have do we have more off licences here than we should be?
No, I think that if you look at our statistics for New Zealand, we don't have any more of an alcohol problem than any other town in New Zealand. But I think that we are about average for the New Zealand statistic.
And what are the limitations for external signage for off licences?
Yes, we're proposing 2 large signs, maximum, no more than the 15 metres square. It stops these signs encouraging people and advertising to buy alcohol.
I mean, that's the first time I've heard of the council doing that. Is that quite often that councils do that, or are you the first?
I think that this new policy will give us some tools to be able to keep our communities safer. Why are we doing this new alcohol policy? Because we're trying to reduce alcohol harm, and that's the reason that central government are allowing us to have these tools.
And will anything be changing around special licences?
Special licences are for events that people may have. We can't control the location, but we can control the hours, and of course we can control the one-door policy if that proposal is accepted and comes in.
And do we have a problem with alcohol consumption? I mean, we mentioned off licences. We want to limit them. Do we have a problem with alcohol consumption in the homes?
I think, Hilary, that a statistic that has come out is that 88% of all alcohol-related crimes comes from drink driving. And that's quite a huge statistic. And when the police work through their investigation, they find that their last drink was in a residential home before the accident. So that's telling us that's directly related to off-site sales, off-licence sales. So that is why our efforts are going into this, and this is what the community is telling us.
That's quite a shocking statistics, really, isn't it? And when the council was consulting with the community, what were some of the other main concerns around alcohol?
I think that was the main concern, is the off-licences. I think they feel that we've got everything else about right. So we're feeling good consultancy out there with our community. I'm encouraging people, please, feedback. The consultation period finishes on the 18th of November and our hearing will be on the 5th of December. So go and look for the form in the newspapers, look online and give us your feedback. Council offices, libraries, and our staff have even written to groups and to the people that hold the licences, the liquor licences now. So we think we're really covering all the bases. So now it's up to our community to get that final feedback in.
Well, thank you very much, Dan.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Submissions close on the 18th of November and you can view the policy on their website. Coming up next, life in Silicon Valley. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. The National IT Conference was held last week in Tauranga, and I caught up with an entrepreneur from New Zealand, making it big in the place where it all happens.
Yeah, so we started a company called Aptimize in Wellington, and this was 4 years ago. We grew that company for just about 2 years, and we were lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time with the right technology. And we were able to sell our products into Google and Microsoft and locally here, companies like TradeMe. So that was a lot of fun. And then 2 years after growing our company, we sold it to Riverbed Technology, which is a big NASDAQ-listed 2,500 person company based in San Francisco. And so after that, myself and my family and all of our staff moved to San Francisco, and it's really been a great opportunity for everyone in our company to kind of learn how things work inside a big city and inside a big company and get immersed in the tech centre there, before ultimately deciding to further our careers in New Zealand.
What is Aptimize?
So Aptimize was a product that sped up websites. So we made websites faster. If you've ever sat at home and gone to a hotel site or a shopping site and it's slow, kind of the frustration that you feel. And so we could make that a little bit better for people, and that ultimately means lower costs for companies and increased revenue from that as well.
And what have you learned from being in the middle of the IT mecca?
Well, what we see is that New Zealand companies are great at innovation. So we develop some fantastic technologies, and often these technologies are unparalleled in the world. We have a different way of thinking, a different way of looking at things. Now, the area where we really need to improve is our sales and marketing. And we can create these great technologies, but they really deserve better growth than what we have today. So really the thing that I'm focused on when we're here at the IITP conference is telling people about how to make those first steps, how to grow your business, how to look at the sales and really increase them into that hockey stick growth. And this in turn is going to fuel the next generation of growth for New Zealand.
So can you give us a little bit of a cheap preview to what you might be talking about?
Yes, sure. So I think the first step is getting in market. If you're going to sell to customers, you need to love customers, and the way to do that is to understand them first. And so if you want to sell into the US, then go to Silicon Valley. If you want to sell into Europe, then land in London. These flights are cheap these days, and it's so simple just to get in market and to meet people. And when you're doing that, you understand how competitors are talking, you understand what customers are looking for, and you understand just the landscape a little bit more than you can from just sitting here in New Zealand. Now, the great thing now these days is that there are a number of resources helping Kiwi companies do that. And a really good example of that is in San Francisco is the Kiwi Landing Pad. And this is exactly like it sounds like. It's a landing pad for New Zealand companies who want to reach into the US market. It's kind of the first door that opens for them. Now, this was set up by the New Zealand government along with some New Zealand business people, and it's a non-profit company. It's designed to help New Zealand businesses export. into the US. And it's an incredible resource for helping facilitate those introductions into partners, into venture capitalists, into other founders. And in a lot of cases, there are a number of New Zealand business people in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, who just want to help. They want to give something back. And so that's a really, really good resource for people getting started. So get in market, understand what's happening, and use the resources that are available for you as well.
What are some different companies in Tauranga that have kind of impressed you?
Well, it's really hard to single out. I feel cautious singling out companies, but here are two that I know of. The first one is Pinga, which is based here in Tauranga, and they're taking that first step of getting offshore to Silicon Valley and promoting their search and indexing product over there. And then there's a much newer company which is also really exciting, and that's IndieRain, which is based in Hamilton. And what IndieRain do is they take, our viewing habits are changing. We're watching, more and more video from the internet now. We no longer feel constrained to watching, what is broadcast just on TV1 or TV2. I mean, that's why this station is great as well. And IndieRain bring a lot of independent film to anyone with an internet connection. So they'll help distribute films and they'll help promote that to a marketplace as well. So that's certainly a really interesting company to watch, and they're based right here in the Waikato.
So how important is a conference like this then to the IT sector?
Well, I think the most important thing with this conference is it gets people talking to other people. And for New Zealand, if we look at Silicon Valley and say there's one lesson to learn from Silicon Valley for New Zealand, we need more than just strong technology companies. We need a strong technology sector. And this conference is a great way of promoting that. It gets people talking to people. And at the end of the day, that's how businesses are formed, that's how sectors are created, and that's how we can fuel the next generation of growth for the Bay of Plenty, Waikato, and for New Zealand.
So it sounds like IT is a lot about networking.
Yes, and networking means two things. Like you have the networking side, which is just cables plugging into other cables and computers, but it's all a people game as well. It's who knows who, and it's who you meet and who they can help you with and how you can kind of grow that. I mean, technology is business after all, and business is about people.
That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved. So like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around our regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.